The Deer Agency specializes in helping you understand your coverage before you need it. We offer all lines of personal and commercial insurance, including auto, home, and life. Contact Don Deere at 210-507-2169 and visit us at 7529 North Loop 1604 in Live Oak, Texas, or farmersagent.com/ddeer.
Are you pregnant and alone? You have options. The Sanctuary of Hope offers expectant mothers ages 12 to 22 a place to live, medical care, counseling, continued education, and options to raise your baby in a loving environment or help you with adoption. We want to help provide you and your baby with a bright future. Call us or email us today and let's walk through this together. 210-499-1554 or sohcares.org. All inquiries are confidential.
You are listening to I Am Refocused Radio with your host, Shamaya Reed. This show is designed to inspire you to live your purpose and regain your focus. And now, here's your host, Shamaya Reed.
Hey, welcome to I Am Refocused Radio. We are here once again, and today we have a special guest, Commander, United States Navy retired, Guy Snodgrass, and we're going to be talking about his new book, Top Guns, Top 10 Leadership Lessons from the Cockpit. From the get-go, you had an amazing career with the United States Navy. So let's tell the audience a little bit about your book.
Yeah, you bet. And for your audience, I mean, you nailed it. I had a really amazing experience for about 2 decades of my career in the U.S. Navy as a fighter pilot stationed overseas, serving in Operation Iraqi Freedom. One of the best aspects of that time in the military was getting a chance to not only go through Top Gun as a student, but to remain on Top Gun as one of the members who was an instructor. And so when you think about the amazing men and women I got to serve with, all the great skills, the lessons that they had to teach, you're soaking it up like a sponge. And so here we are coming up on almost 2 decades after that experience, getting a chance to really put it down into a nice, fun book with a lot of great sea stories, as we call them, stories about experiences I had in the cockpit, and put it in a way that most men and women can relate to and use in their own lives and careers.
And you had, like you just said moments ago, great stories shared in the book, especially the one where you are talking about the trainer and that experience where you're out doing the flight, practicing all those maneuvers, and then afterwards the instructor will break down the notes with you and go over mistakes and how you can grow. Tell us on that a little bit about the audience, because I thought that was pretty interesting inside your book.
Yeah, it was such a great touch point for what Top Gun really stands for. So like you mentioned, we were on a mission called Basic Fighter Maneuvers. Most people might hear that as what we call dogfighting. It's when you take one aircraft, you go head-to-head against the second aircraft, and it's a lot of fun, but it really challenges you because you're pulling a lot of G's. It's very strenuous, both mentally and physically. And so here I go out and I fight a Top Gun instructor. This is for what we call a rush ride, and this is basically it's like rushing a fraternity or a sorority. This is my attempt to show the Top Gun instructor that I've got everything I need to join the ranks as a Top Gun instructor. And man, throughout the entire flight, I felt like I had failed it pretty badly. He beat me every single time we fought. And when we take off all of our flight gear, once we're done, we go to the debriefing room where we're going to talk about the flight. And I think it impressed him that I just called it like it was. I said, hey, here are all the things I did wrong. This is what I learned from it. This is what I do differently next time. And I'll never forget thinking, well, this is kind of a waste of time. I guess I'm not going to have to become an instructor. And he shocked me because he said, look, yeah, there's plenty of stuff to learn. He goes, but I've been an instructor for a long time. So obviously the expectation would be that I beat you. What's more important is that you demonstrated really good knowledge. You've got the talent, and more importantly, you came in here, you handled yourself like a professional, and you called it like it was. And so I'm going to recommend you to be an instructor. And I remember just thinking, I loved that perspective, and it really changed how I work with others in my daily life. The fact that a lot of times you may not be the best at that moment in time, but it's your talent, it's your passion, it's your personality that really defines who you are.
And once again, we are talking to Guy Snodgrass in his book, Top Guns, Top 10 Leadership Lessons from the Cockpit. And also in your book, you mentioned how, your actions always speak louder than your words and never wait to make a difference. Before we let you go, touch on the audience how this book can change someone's life who wants to change career or who wants to become a great leader.
Yeah, I think, what I strove to do is write a book that anybody could pick up, regardless of your background. You could be a high school student, you could be a mid-career professional, you could be a senior leader in a company. And there's always something new you can learn, some new tools, some new tricks, some new techniques to improve yourself. And so I wanted to write some real fun, engaging stories that people would be drawn into, but largely so I could kind of give you that medicine, say, look, this is an area where either I succeeded, but more likely it's an area where I failed in my own career, but I learned from that lesson, and here's how I use it in the future to become successful. And I think when you look at 2020, with the pandemic and now where we are right now, where we've got the election staring us in the face, I mean, there's just so many things coming at us so quickly, and it's very important to remember, hey, stay calm under pressure. Don't let things get under your skin. You'll make better decisions that way. It's important to remember that you should never wait to make a difference, whether it's in your own life, your family's life, or for your family, the community, the company, or the organization you're part of. So the beauty of this is that not only do these lessons work really well for me in the cockpit, but they've worked incredibly well as I've had my own career change, going from the U.S. Navy to now working in the outside private sector. And so I think that these have a lot of benefits for your listeners.
And I like in the book how you talked about having priorities, because you mentioned waiting last minute means it's going to take a minute to do. So before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to tell the listening audience?
Sure. I appreciate that opportunity, and I would just simply say that sometimes it can be easy to feel a little distant from the men and women who serve in the military. We see on TV periodically what they do, but they're off, overseas, or they're off at a base doing stuff, and we don't necessarily have that intimate exposure. And so I just want to let your audience know that they should feel incredibly proud of the men and women who volunteer to serve in the military, that they wake up every single morning, usually very early in the morning, with the sole purpose of wanting to achieve their fullest potential, to do well in their own careers, but because that serves America's interests, both here at home for our security, but also abroad. And I've always been very impressed with the quality of the men and women that I had a chance to serve alongside. And I really feel that Americans should feel very proud of what they're getting from their military.
Once again, we're talking to Guy Snodgrass and his book, Top Guns, Top 10 Leadership Lessons from the Cockpit. And you can follow him on Twitter at Guy Snodgrass, or visit his website, guysnodgrass.com. Make sure you go get his book. And he's also CEO of Defense Analytics, so he is still busy being a leader. Once again, Guy Snodgrass, thank you for being on I Am Refocused Radio today.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me. Great talking to you.
Hi, San Antonio. Need a barber? Visit our good friend Rico Rodriguez, the owner of Rockefeller's Barbershop in San Antonio, Texas, 1733 Babcock Road, and book your appointment today by calling 210-782-5188.